What is a class and why is it important? Well, a class is nothing more but a structure that contains a collection of data and functions. It's more organized code and it's used in modern day programming now. What does a class look like? How do we define a class? What does it look like? In PHP, if we want to design a class, we start with the keyword class. So the keyword class lets PHP know that we're going to be defining a new class. After you define the keyword class, it's followed by any class name you want to give it. So I'll just call mine person. And again, you can name your class anything, but it's always good practice, especially when you're defining classes, is to name it represent something in real life or virtually that you're going to be using. After you name your class, we want to use our opening and closing curly braces, and of course the opening curly brace lets PHP know we're going to be implementing some code to define our new class. And of course the closing curly brace is to let PHP know that we're finished defining our implementation in our class, where our class ends. So I'll just write a small notation, end of person class. And this is just to let future PHP programmers know that this is the end of the person class. Congratulations, guys. You guys are professionals on creating PHP classes. So again, this is the most basic structure to define a class in PHP. And of course, in our next section, we're going to be looking at how to define some data to use within our class. Another good habit when you're defining classes is always use comments. So with the comments, it's good and it lets the reader or the programmer know in the future who's ever going to be working with your code. It gives a description of your class. With me, I like to use the word description and just give a short description of what the purpose of your class is. I'll put this class defines different people. Okay? So that's just a basic, in a nutshell, description of my class. And what I like to do, and it's not required, to close off of my my comments to make it more readable, I just put hyphens around the opening and closing comments. And again, this is just optional, but it is good programming practice in all programming languages to always write comments, especially for your classes, methods, functions, or etc. as well. Again, this is the most basic structure of defining a class. You have your class keyword, which lets PHP know that you're going to be defining a class, and your person, which I use for my class name, is person. Your word is going to be anything you want to name your class, and you just use your opening and closing braces. But in our next lecture, we're going to be adding data again, because what's the whole point of creating a class if it doesn't do anything? So again, guys, thanks, and I'll see you in our next lecture.